Speaker, instead of tackling violence against women, the government has prioritised giving the police the power to prohibit the fundamental freedoms of protest that the British public hold dear. And by giving the police this discretion to use these powers some of the time, it takes away our freedom all of the time.
Everyone has the right to associate with others and gather together for a common purpose. This is enshrined in Article 11 of the Human Rights Act 1998, called the freedom of assembly and association. What this means, quite simply, is that you have the right to protest or be part of a trade union, for example. Well, the government is about to pass a law to curtail that right. This is a gross infringement of civil rights and liberties. Keep watching this video. I am Kareesha Turner, your human rights barrister. Thank you to my 200 subscribers, and keep on subscribing so you are kept abreast of the law and get regular updates. The Police Crime Sentencing and Courts Bill is causing lots of concerns amongst human rights lawyers. It's a draconian piece of legislation and gives the police fierce powers. For example, being annoying can be criminalised. Yes, you heard me right, serious annoyance could be seen as a criminal offence. I can imagine the number of people who would fall into that category, not forgetting my brother, for example, whom we classify as annoying, but this is effectively what the bill provides for. Police could shut down peaceful protests if they're deemed too disruptive, or if the actions of the protesters cause serious annoyance to the surrounding community, organisations or businesses. The right to protest and express yourself is enshrined in the Human Rights Act, but that right is not an absolute right. Protests can be limited by the police if they believe they have a good reason to impose such restrictions. The new bill includes making it illegal to inflict serious annoyance on a person without reasonable excuse, with up to 10 years jail in theory if judges choose so. Other measures include imposing up to 10 years jail on people who vandalise statues and so on. The Home Office insists its proposal will respect human rights. The government also insists this is simply taking the current definition of public nuisance and putting it on a proper legal footing. But currently, there is not a clear list of what reasonable excuse or excuses constitute. And the government is saying the police will instead focus on targeting people who used extremely disruptive tactics during demonstrations. But that remains to be seen. As far as the black letter of the law is concerned, someone will fall foul of the law if they have caused a person serious distress, serious annoyance, serious inconvenience, or loss of amenity whilst protesting. Governments, and I understand governments are responsible for protecting their citizens and ensuring their health and safety. Unfortunately, a number of countries are taking advantage of Covid-19 and the global pandemic to implement repressive measures under the cover of public health protection. Since the pandemic began in the UK, there have been hundreds of measures passed restricting freedom of expression and participation, and this causes me lots of concerns. And when Covid-19 disappears and gets under control, it seems these measures and restrictions are here to stay. And I believe this is a form of control. And because of Covid-19, we have been used to having our civil liberties curtailed. Sadly, the state of civil liberties around the world is already bleak. But what we're now finding is that people are simply accepting those restrictions since COVID-19 is being used as an excuse. Ask yourself these questions. Does the police need more powers? Does increasing sentence of a rapist mean deterrence when the justice system isn't funded? We are now living in a country where causing inconvenience could be criminalized, and I want you to think about this. I'm fully aware we're in a pandemic, but are these restrictions on our civil liberties justified? Is it proportionate? I do not pretend that I have all the answers, but I made this video with some sense of urgency so as to raise awareness on what is happening in our country and so that we can have a conversation before it's too late. Read about it, talk to people, write to your MP and ask questions, but do not, and I urge you, do not let COVID-19 be an excuse for human rights violation. It is not a weapon to control people. Thank you for watching Kareesha Law.